Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm 32 years old. A lot of you on my Facebook page, you know who I am. And I've had a lot of people ask me why I have the beliefs that I believe and why I decided to, start a spiritual store and kind of started going in the direction of the spiritual, and I kind of want to explain. October 22nd, 2009, I died. And I probably shouldn't be here today. But lucky for me, I was in a coma for 3 days, and then I came out of it. And I got very lucky. And probably, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years after that, things in my life changed. My vision changed. I used to have to wear glasses. I couldn't get a driver's license without having that on it, basically saying I needed corrective lenses and all that junk. And it's my old driver's license. And if you look on the back of it, it says restrictions, corrective lenses. And I have my newest driver's license, which, try not to hand out a million pieces of information in the process. And you see I have no glasses. And restrictions, none. It was weird because, one day I was like, wow, I see better without my glasses on. That's really odd. It's extremely weird. So I decided to, and hold on because I'm blown away. You're good. So I decided to have my vision checked. And I did. I went to a lens crafter's and I had my vision checked. And I explained to the doctor that I had been in a coma and everything. And he even put on my paperwork, vision improved after a coma. C-O-M-A. And this was my vision up here. And then today, 20/20 vision. With 0 LASIK because there was no scarring on my eyes. Now, I had no diabetes. I had no other health issues. I was also not overweight throughout that time. I was taking medication where my blood had to be tested, and nothing that would really attribute to having those problems or them just all of a sudden going away. And then my phone started doing weird things, like playing songs that weren't on it when I was getting a text message. And I had a really shitty phone then, so it was, I couldn't program it to play anything other than short jingles. And it was playing through a whole song 3 times until I checked the text message. That was a little crazy. And then I predicted my first death, not mine but someone else's. Within this last 12 months, I've predicted 6 deaths. And the saddest part about that was that a lot of them were people that I knew that were very close friends of mine. I had a dream, and I told this girl about this dream, and I said, I walked down a hall, I tried to wake you up, and I couldn't. And I told her what color blanket she had on her, everything. I was like, and I knew that she'd been doing some things maybe she shouldn't have been doing, but I don't remember my dreams unless they're going to happen, and unfortunately, that's just how it goes. I've learned that over the years. And 4 weeks later, she died, and she got lucky that someone that we knew was with her and revived her, but to this day, she has a pacemaker, and she's a young 30-year-old. That's just not natural. I had people approach me asking me to help them with things, from, can you help me bless my house, to had somebody approach me at work before, say that they had been taken to a warehouse and that they were sure that they talked to something dead and were sure that I could help them. And it scared the crap out of me because I had no idea what this guy was talking about. I didn't have any beliefs before all this. I had 0. I looked at a protester at Mardi Gras, years ago. And I was angry because, whatever, I was partying, having a good time, I'd had a couple drinks. Turn around, protester. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Starts preaching to me. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to tell you something. I didn't see shit when I died. And if you ever see this video, I don't know your name, but if you ever see this video, I am so sorry if I even made you question your faith for 1 second, because I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Is it still recording? Okay. And just so nobody knows that this was set up, I didn't write anything out first. I'm just speaking from my heart and going through my experiences. You know, in the predicting the deaths, like I said, that continued. I had helped somebody out with something. It was, I mean, I have pictures of it that I posted on my spiritual Facebook, and all this is going to end up in a book, so I'll make sure everything's detailed and all that. But after I helped her, not even probably 10 hours later, somebody showed up at work, told me if I continued to help her that I would burn right along with her. And it was like 2 or 3 days later, I got this little gem, which was really crappy. And I went to work and I came home to a bunch of satanic things written on my apartment in soot. Somebody had put a wet paint sign on brick, which that's what caught my attention, because hello, nobody painted the brick. And I was like, what in the hell? Look over to the left, and it's all just down the wall. And I was like, oh, this doesn't look good. You know, and I called my friend, like, and it kind of described what it was, and we had a conversation about it. So I made the decision to leave where I lived at that point, because I did not feel safe. And if you look on the reason they let me out of my lease, and it was funny because one of my friends read it, and he was like, is there even a clause in your lease for that? And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, there is now. And it states, management has released resident from her lease, believes she's being stalked by someone satanic. The people at my apartment complex saw it, were made aware of it, and somebody had to clean it up. I'm glad I wasn't that person, and whoever had to, I'm sorry, because that couldn't have been very pleasant. Had to have been nerve-wracking at the very least. So, you know, I'd had some other situations where I had kind of seen things here and there that helped me to predict things, and one of them was actually standing in church one day, which was real crazy, and come to find out I wasn't the only person looking at it. That was comforting. You know, and then I've randomly, you know, found things. I've just gotten a feeling to go in somewhere, or a feeling to do something, and I was with a friend of mine one day, and I was riding around with him, running errands, and he was driving. He had something he had to do, so I was just rolling with him, going to a store, and it's like this little strip mall. So he's driving past this place, and I'm like, stop, and he's like, what, Jessica? And I'm like, I need to go in there. It was an antique store, and he looked at me, and he said, why? And he looked at me like I had 4 eyeballs, because he was like, have you been there before or anything? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, why? Like, you know, basically what's up with that? And I told him, I said, I'm going to find a book in there that I'm going to need. And he just kind of shook his head like, all right, I'm going to be in here, and I'll come meet you, you know, over there. Okay? So I was like, cool. Well, I stand in front of each rack, and I'm like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Go to the back, and I'm like, there we go. I pulled this book off of top shelf, and it is an herb Bible. I'm very much into, you know, herbs, things of that sort. My grandfather was born on a reservation, so I've always kind of, you know, looked to honor that in a lot of different ways. And inside this book was a few things, actually. Pages from a different book called The Weapons of Your Warfare. Let's see. And things are highlighted, but obviously this doesn't go with this book because, you know, every Christian out there knows what, you know, Weapons of Your Warfare is. I found out after this because I went and looked it up. And then things that were cut out. I'm not sure if it's from the same book, but they were taped to a piece of paper. And then the gem of all of it was this paper here, written in iron gall ink. And it is a handwritten blessing along with a prayer. And the blessing is to, says, Satan, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I command you to be gone. I forbid your presence here. I claim the protection of the blood of Jesus upon me or us. Go where Jesus sends you. I thought that was kind of interesting because I basically kind of found the little 6-page how-to exorcism bonus in my herb book. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I looked up the lady on the front of this because there was a sticker, because I wanted to know who it was that wrote this, because I had never heard of iron ink in my life. And when I looked it up, there's 5 people online, Etsy, that make it. You can't buy it locally, nothing like that. So I mean, it's a very skilled trade to make that ink, because you have to make it on your own, basically. And Miss Dorleen Madich, apartment 605, 3220 8th Avenue East, from Hibbing, Minnesota. I looked her up, and she died in 2010. So, you know. A few months after that, I ended up saving somebody's life for the first time. And it was pretty traumatic. I don't know if you've been through it. It'll rattle you. I had just started kind of doing the roommate thing. Somebody that worked out at my gym. You know, big 260-pound dude, healthy. I mean, worked out. You know, I didn't think anything of it, really. First day, I get moved into this place, you know, finished my stuff, put it in my room, whatever. And I guess he was going to get a last load with one of his friends to finish moving his stuff or whatever. And he walked in, set his backpack by the front door, didn't say anything. Walked straight upstairs. Well, these 2 people that came in with him sat in the living room in the corner, and they weren't really saying shit. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But I didn't really think anything of it, because I'm like, you know, whatever, it's somebody he knows. Obviously, he trusts them. Well, like maybe 5 minutes go by, and I don't know what it was that I felt, but it was something, and it was very major, and it happened very quickly, and it was like somebody standing behind you yelling, hey, really loud, only there's no one sitting there yelling, hey, but you get that same deep-seated fear, and that you have to hurry up or something bad's going to happen. And it was weird because after I saved his life, I told him what room that feeling came to me from. It wasn't the room he was in. It was the room next to his. And, you know, no one was really able to explain that. But when I got that feeling, I kind of looked up like, what the hell? I started looking at the 2 people he came in with, and they started fidgeting. And I knew something was seriously wrong. I've learned to listen to my gut instinct. And I ran upstairs, and he's probably pretty lucky, because his life probably wouldn't have been saved had whatever got my attention had not gotten my attention. Now, while I was busy saving his life, those people decided they were going to rob him blind and leave me there to deal with it. Okay, to deal with saving this person's life, because I'm the last person left that this person has. And it was an extremely shitty thing to do. And I hope you're somewhere going through something that is even half as bad as dumping a dead body on somebody. Okay? Seriously. And I've never seen anything that wrong in my life. It was raw. It was real raw. I had attempted to give him CPR. I didn't know CPR, which made it even that much worse. Because, you know, he thinks, hey, this is going to happen to them, and that's something you should plan. You don't. When I was attempting to give him CPR, he took his last breath. And I don't know what helped me to save his life. I don't know if it was whatever had gotten my attention. Whatever it was. Whether you want to call it a spirit, an angel, God, whatever you want to call it. Something got my attention, and something helped me save his life, because he shouldn't have made it. And paramedics, I heard him bust through the front door, and I lost track of him in the house, because when I touched him, I don't know, something happened. Like, I closed my eyes, I was sitting over him, and I was just really lightly just kind of doing this, and then something something happened. Like, I lost track of all time. I lost track of everything. I lost track of the paramedics in the house. I lost track of everything. And the only thing that brought me out of it was the first 2 paramedics that hit the stairs. Because whatever they saw, shocked the shit out of them. And the sound that they made is what got me out of it. And, you know, I got off of them to let them do their thing. And I hit my knees and I was just staring at my hands. Like, I mean, you'd have thought they were somebody else's hands on my body. I just was like, like, shocked shitless. And the female paramedic that was one of the first 2 up the stairs took me downstairs to try to talk to me, to try to calm me down. And she was staring at my necklace, my pentagram. And she asked me, she said, "How did you do that?" And all I could do was just keep staring at my hands. And she asked me again, "How did you do that?" And I just looked at my hands and I said, "I made a call and it got answered." It wasn't in the way I thought it was going to be answered. It hurt. If that's even possible, it hurt. And I was bedridden for about a week. So I'm not really sure what happened in that situation, but they called another squad to pick him up, and then I had 4 cops and 4 paramedics question me for 45 minutes, asking me how. Well, I started explaining that I owned ShamanKnowledge.com. Because when these things first started happening to me, a lot of my close friends said, "Well, your grandfather was born on a reservation with your bloodline. Jessica, maybe you're honestly a shaman. Like, we've seen you do these things and we don't know what to attribute to it." And so that was when I started walking the spiritual path, you know, and it's not perfect. I'm a human being, I'm fallible. But believe that I walked the path way more than I ever thought I would. Way more than I ever thought I would. And it was, you know, I told them that I owned ShamanKnowledge.com, EarthAngelBoutique.com. And when I started giving those answers, they were just like, wow. Like, kind of had a look like that explains it, when that didn't even explain it to me. You know, I still didn't understand, like, what in the ever-loving hell is going on. Like, what happened, you know? You know, after that situation, a friend of mine had told me about a year before it happened, and she is very gifted. She's definitely, I'd call her a clairvoyant. I never thought those kind of people were in this world, but there's a lot more than you guys think. Way more than you guys think. Frankly, it's amazing. I mean, I've been very blessed to meet as many as I have. But she said, "Jessica, you're going to do something so amazing, it's going to shock you." And she said it's going to put you in a hospital for a week. But she wouldn't elaborate, and she told me some other things that I'm not going to share right now, because they have yet to be. But yeah, I'm thankful it didn't put me in a hospital for a week, but again, I was bedridden for a week. Like, I was a mess. About 2-3 months after that, 2 months. Oh shit, it was only 2 months. So only 2, you guys will love this. Only 2 months after that, I had someone that, you know, I'd kind of known casually, didn't really care for them much, but someone that I was very close with became friends with them. So I was kind of pushed that aside, and they were having to get together, so I decided to go. Well, we get there, and things weren't right, and I opened the front door and I had a really bad feeling, and I got lucky that my friend and I were the first 2 in the house. And there was a woman laying on the bathroom floor, and she was in a bad way. No needles, no marks, nothing like that. She had just had open heart surgery 5 days before. Yeah. So that was scary, really, because, you know, when he pulled her shirt up, I just started crying again. Because, I mean, the cops had questioned me for 45 minutes after I saved somebody's life before. This is 2 months before this. And, you know, I learned CPR after that. I asked my friend to, you know, show me CPR, because if I ever had to save somebody's life, I never wanted to be questioned again. Because it made it worse. Them questioning me and trying to figure out how the hell when I didn't even know how, it made that situation so much worse to deal with. I mean, so much worse. And, yeah, learned CPR. getting ready to do said CPR. Scar from here to here. Can't do a chest compression. Cannot do said CPR. And, you know, he helped me with that, which was good. And, I mean, she still wasn't breathing very well. And, I mean, I was just crying because I couldn't believe that this was really happening that close to that other situation. I was just like, oh, man, why? And he stood up for a minute and turned his back to let me collect myself to see if I could help her in my way. Again, I still don't know how to explain what my way is because I still don't totally understand it. I just go with it because I've had to deal with it. So I have had to live with it because it's my life. And she still wasn't breathing very well. And I mean, I just did this and she took a deep breath. And she ended up okay. You know, her boyfriend had been hollering to call a squad. I was worried somebody was going to hurt her because she had just had open heart surgery, so I wouldn't let him call anybody. Which, yeah, could seem stupid, I know. Okay, but you know, I was doing the best I could given the situation. And she's okay to this day. She's alive, which is good. So, if you all are wondering why I look at things the way that I do, why I got into doing all these spiritual things, I'm going to take this moment right now to testify for the Lord. Because I don't believe I would be here, and I don't believe that I would have been able to help people the way that I have, because it definitely was not traditional. Again, I didn't know CPR the first time, couldn't do it the second time. And there's nothing that, to me, that can explain that other than God. Because, I mean, my eyesight, everything in my life got better. I mean, I was in a really bad spot in my life, and I decided to do something that I shouldn't have done, and that's why I died. And I'm not proud at all. But, I don't know, I guess Jesus stepped in, and, you know, here I am today, perfect vision, no LASIK. I have accomplished things that I only thought I would accomplish in my dreams in my life. And I keep getting blessed. I was accidentally given a final instead of a pretest when I was supposed to be given a pretest. I decided to get into manufacturing, quality control, robotics, things like that because it interests me. This was after I was already signed in LA. I did a bunch of stuff. You know, those were things I only dreamed of. I mean, I've seen places, met people, and done things that I could only dream of. And for my life to be this blessed to this day after everything that had happened, I can only attribute it to God. So, I'm making this video, and I'm putting this out there because I want all of you to know, even whenever you've given up on yourself, God has not given up on you. I don't care where you're at today, because I came back from death, okay? And that's a shitty place to be. Trust me, it's not fun. To be who I am today, to do what I do to this day, and to continue to help people. Because like I said, after I helped that one girl, she had a lot of really not good things happening around her house. And her EVP kept calling me a witch, pre-switch. And it was really weird. I still don't understand that. I still haven't been able to make sense of that. But I don't know if that ties into a shaman thing. Is a shaman a pre-switch? Anybody sees this video, if you can tell me, I'd like to know. Because I've been trying to figure this out and I can't. But, you know, again, to have things written on my apartment, I've been a target. And I'm going to continue to help people. You know, and if people don't like it, that maybe stand for something different than me, oh well. I'm not going to stop helping people. And it's kind of funny because after I died and I lived, I prayed to God. And I said, I was so thankful to be alive. Like, so thankful to be alive. I mean, I love life. And even whenever it wasn't going so well, I still, after all that, wanted to be here and still try. I don't know. Just don't give up. Don't ever give up, and just know that something else is out there and that there's nothing that you cannot come back from. But definitely appreciate your life, whether it's going how you want it to or not, because maybe what you're doing is not what you're meant to do, and maybe that's why it's so difficult. You know, maybe you're not in line with your true self, because ever since I've gotten in line with what I should be doing, things have been much better. You know, if you're doing a bunch of drugs, you know, try to get people from the old neighborhood sober. If any of you guys are still fucking doing heroin, stop. You're making yourself a slave. A slave to something evil, really. And you're putting yourself in hell, is what you're doing. And, you know, I hope that this video helps at least one person. You know, that, yeah, if you feel shitty about, you know, feel bad about yourself because you're not doing good things, that's not necessarily where you're going to be in a week. And if you choose today to change that, month, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, your life will no longer be that way. It's just taking that first step. So, a lot of people have witnessed me do these things. And I'm thankful that they have, because they've stood by my side, and it's helped me to cope. Because to go from somebody that had no faith in nothing, had no faith, zero, to how I feel about it today, it was a lot of adjustment. Like, a lot of adjustment, you know, because there's no medication in the world that, you know, can fix whatever is going on. There's just not. So, everybody that's, like, stood by me, thank you, because it's really helped make it easier to deal with something that is unexplainable. And so, this is my short video. This is my testimony, along with documentation, and I will be writing a book, and I will fully expect at some point, because once I get it published, I'm sure there are going to be people that are not going to believe it. And I fully expect that, because if I hadn't seen this, I damn sure wouldn't believe it either. At all. No way. I'm sorry, you better show me, because I'm not going to believe it. So I'm going to be full ready to take a lie detector test to back up every claim I make in my book. I want to share my story, and I hope that it helps people. And thank you all for watching this, and I hope that you all have a blessed night.